Hi everyone, this is Becky from My Creative Life. Welcome to my channel. Today I am sharing a layout in my Square Dylusions journal. I recently got some brand new stencils in and also the new collage sheets from Diane Reevely, so I was so excited to dig in. And I also got this tissue here with my package from Joggles, and I could not wait to use it on a background. Now, I do have that whole video here on my channel. If you have not already seen it, go ahead and take a look through my videos. It's the one posted right before this process video today. Now, I had full intention once I started using this tissue paper that I wanted to be able to see the beautiful colors and the beautiful design with all of those florals, but that's not what happened in the end. I absolutely love how this layout turns out, but it definitely took a different turn along the way, and at the end you can just see this tissue paper peeking through and adding some detail to my background. So I wanted to add a bit of stamping where my tissue paper is not going to be on my background. And you can see that I'm not getting a really crisp or even a full image of that stamp. And I believe it's because my ink pad is drying up on me. I do have some new ink pads, I just have not switched over yet. But I believe it's time to retire this one and go ahead and pull out the new one. But I'll just go ahead and continue right now and add the stamping. And then go ahead and adhere my tissue using some matte gel medium. So here I'm just using my Nuvo Spatula to add a very thin layer behind my tissue. And once I add it to the top, I will push towards the edge of my tissue paper. That way I will get any globs of that matte gel medium to push out from underneath the tissue, and also any air bubbles will be removed. That way I'll get a really nice seal and I won't have any air bubbles or huge globs of adhesive stuck under there, and that will just take forever to dry. So you'll see once I start adhering it here, I do push down and towards the edge. Once I'm done adding my tissue, I do go around and remove all of the excess of the edges. So here I'm just using my heat tool to help dry my matte gel medium on the background there, and then I'll start adding in some colors. Now, I recently got the brand new Shimmer colors from Dylusions. Could not wait to play with these, and I am going to water it down a tiny bit right now once I'm adding it to the background here. But once I add it full strength later on, the shimmer is there. It's a very subtle shimmer. This is not a really bold, in your face, sparkly paint at all, but I absolutely love how it looks. And here I'm just watering it down so that it blends really nicely with that tissue. Once I'm done adding in the pink, I will go ahead and add some of the orange, and then I'll add a tiny bit of the green and just blend it onto the background between my tissue pieces there, blending them all together. I am absolutely loving these paints. You can see the colors match perfectly with the colors on that tissue paper there. And watering it down, it did take away some of the shimmer, but that's totally fine. I am just gonna continue blending all of my colors together. Next up, I am gonna add in some green, and you'll notice when I add the green, I do not add as much as I did with the pink and the yellow, that orangey color, and I believe that is Pure Sunshine. Now I will go ahead and list all of the items that I used today on this layout down in my description box. I'll add links to those items so you can check it out. And here I'm just adding in my green now. So next up is where I will go ahead and add some stenciling. This is another new stencil I got from the Crafters Workshop, and I'm using some black paint with a makeup sponge, and I'm using two of the designs here on the stencil and just layering them together, and using that black paint add a really nice contrast to the background. And you will see now that I go ahead and just add that to several areas here on this background. So now I'm going through my collage sheets here from Dylusions, and I'm going to choose 3 heads to add to my background. And I did do a flip through of all of these sheets, all 2 packs that I got. I got pack 3 and 4 recently, and I did a flip through of all of those in my haul video as well. Now, this is where things went a little bit different than I envisioned. I am not sure what I was thinking, but I went ahead and added some more of the pink shimmer paint to the background. Now, I say sometimes in my videos, your art journal layouts are gonna go through an ugly stage, and I believe this might be my ugly phase here, which is simply a phase where I am not liking the look that I'm getting right now. To solve this issue, I just keep adding slowly and slowly until I get back to the point where I love my layout. So here, to tone down some of that pink, because I just was not liking it after I started adding it on the background, I am adding in here now some white titanium paint, and it still was not giving me the results that I wanted. Then I decided to pull out this really beautiful and detailed leaf stencil, and this is one of the items I got in my haul that I just really love. I cannot wait to use this actually on a scrapbook layout, because here on my art journal layouts I don't go for perfection at all. You'll notice here that some of my paint gets under the stencil and smears, and that's perfectly fine with my art journal layouts. But to see the real true beauty of this leaf, I think I need to use it with maybe some Distress Oxide ink pads and blend them together, and I'll definitely see all of the beautiful details on that leaf design. Now, with the paint here, if you wanted to get a nice image, you will have to blot out a lot of that excess paint from the sponge, which is not what I did at all. So here I'm having some really messy leaves on my background, and this is where things start to come together once again. I am adding in 3 of these leaves on the bottom right, you can see here. And then I'll go ahead and add 2 to the top left corner of my layout. And you'll notice once I add the ones to the top left corner, the first one that I add that's going off the page, once I add the second one, I do not go over the first one. I do not want to smudge all of those little details in the leaf at all that I already stenciled on. And you're also going to notice that I went around the edge of the stencil just to define each one of those leaves. And like I said, at this point, this is when everything starts coming together again, and I'm starting to like how it's turning out. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the girl's head on the leaves, using the leaves as the bodies, and I am just going to move these around a few times until I find the exact position I want each one of those in. And I end up using the green here, the green hat on the end of my layout instead of where it is right now. So I'm going to use some matte gel medium and start adhering these to my page. So adding in the girl with the green hat, I wanted to add a little bit more green to my background, just in several areas, not too much. And I decided to pull out this leaf stencil here. Now I'm using some Dylusions paint, which went perfectly with the shade of green on her hat, but I was not getting a bold enough image once I go ahead and add that paint directly on that background. So I know I needed to get something white first to have sort of a blank slate, and then add in the green. I decided to go ahead and use some textured paste and go through that stencil, and it also added some dimension as well. And once I have my leaves on my page, I'll color them in using that green paint. Now I could have added the paint to the texture paste, mixed it together, but I felt it might have diluted the color, and I definitely wanted the exact color of that paint, not a lighter version of it. So I decided to do it this way instead. And also I think adding the paint to the texture paste may have caused the texture paste to be a little bit more fluid, might not have stand up as well as it did right there through that stencil. So I am totally happy with the way I decided to go with this. And here I'm just adding the texture paste through the stencil on 3 different areas. Here I'll use a small brush with the paint and paint those tiny little leaves, and it matches perfectly with her hat. Brought in some green elsewhere on my layout, so the balance is a lot better now with that color, and I love how this looks. So here I'm just using what was left of that green paint and just adding some marks here around my layout, and later on I do add some black ones as well. Next up, I am gonna work on my title. I believe first I do go around each one of those faces, those heads, and I will outline them with my black Stabilo pencil and add a little bit of shading. Here I'm using my Sharpie, just adding some scribbles here on the left side of each one of these and just outlining them just a tiny bit to define the shapes. And I am also using my Stabilo pencil with a wet brush and adding a tiny bit of shading on each one of these leaves, and that helps them just stand out a little bit more than they are right now. So now adding in these black marks, I think it made such a huge difference. Things sort of pulled together at this point and it made everything else on the page pop. Absolutely love the effect that this had on this layout. Next up, I am gonna work on my title, which I went back and forth with a lot throughout the process. But first, I do add some eyes into my girls. You can see going across two of these girls, there are words on their eyes, and I have this washi tape from Dylusions. I am not even sure where I got this washi. I cannot find it online anymore, otherwise I will definitely buy more. But I have this washi roll that have just different designs for eyes, and it fits perfectly across these faces. So you'll see once I'm done adding in my marks, and I add a strip of black down the center of each one of these leaves, I'll go ahead and change out the eyes on the girls. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add my title, which says "Bloom Where You Are Planted." And the first go around, I used a chisel tip marker, which was a bit too wide for the words in the center, on the center girl. And then I went over it again with my white correction pen, sorry. And after I did that, I believe I used a pink Posca pen and also a green Posca pen, and it's not until I used my thin black marker that I really love how it looked. And my handwriting is definitely not perfect at all. I am not good at hand lettering, but I do enjoy adding my handwriting, my own handwriting to my art journal pages every now and then. So here you will see me go over this several times until I get it where I like how it looks. So coming up next, I will give you a close-up look at this layout as well as some still shots. And you can see here, even though it took a round turn somewhere along the way, I really love how this turned out in the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed the process today. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up, and I hope you consider subscribing to my channel. I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye.